So this is a spindle that it's big. You can see its trunk is a good diameter. It was covered in cleavers earlier. But these mature ones are not really good for taking cuttings from because they're doing lots of seeding and stuff. But you could pick the seeds and plant those somewhere in a pot if you wanted to. Those are the seeds. So you could plant those somewhere. I just spread them around. But basically you want the young growth, which is like this, but this is too short. I have loads of spindle all planted in there. So I'm going to go and show you some that I'll do cuttings of in there. This is a plantation of birch and cherry. A lot of these are cherries that I planted as slips. They are 5 years old now, I think. 5 or 6 years old, these cherries. Anyway, here is a spindle that I would take cuttings from. This spindle here, you can see this branch has seeds on it. And these are not seeds, but you see this branch here? This branch here has leaves and no seeds. It's a really, really long, new stalk. Now, you can see here, the trunk has the stripes on it. It's maturing. You go further down and it matures darker and darker right there. That's not spindle. So what you do is you find the green section like this. It goes really tall like that. And what I would do with this one is, oh, do I have my cutters? Yes. I would cut right there. And this would be one cutting of a spindle. Now I'm going to do a few and then I'll show you a place where I want to put more spindles and how I put them in the ground. Here's a whole group of spindles that I've cut. And you can see they're very green. They don't have the brown stripes. Well, this one is beginning to have the brown stripes and mature. But all these side branches, I'm going to trim off. All the side branches. So I've left leaves at the very, very tippy top, even though they're probably going to fall off very, very soon. But you can see they're all the way down my leg. They're really long. And all the side branches I've nipped off. I don't know if you can see that. All the side branches have been nipped off, except for the tippy top leaves. So along here, you can see there's spindle. These spindle are 6 years old, so they grow really, really fast. But I planted some trees over here. There's a cherries. Those are looking good. But this area doesn't have many. This is an apple tree. Okay, apple trees aren't native, but they feed a lot of wildlife. So I've planted this apple tree here. There's a beech there. And what I want to do is, this is one spindle that I stabbed into the soil 2 years ago. I think it's 2 years ago. It must be 2 years ago. But I want to put more spindle in this area. Here's another spindle. This spindle was stabbed into the soil 2 years ago. I came and did some. So this whole area, there's a load of silver birch, cherries, and spindle that way. So I want to put a lot of spindle in here. More spindle. No, that's nettle. So you can see this spindle is really, really long. It goes all the way up almost to my hip. And what I'm gonna do is literally go somewhere here and I will just feed it into the soil. There we go. Okay, that's one. And I just do a bunch of them. And whatever takes. I feed that in. And feed that in. So if I do a grouping, this is a bit of yarrow here. And then feed that in. Okay, so I feed a lot of it into the soil. I try and get, if this is this long, I try and get that much into the soil. Okay. And one last one. Okay, that's a short one. So if 2 of these make it, that'll be great. Sometimes I have a huge number that make it. So last year, I think I put in 3 or 4, and I have 1, 2 left that I can see. There might be another one that I can't see, but this one's looking pretty good. Well, they're both looking pretty good. There's 1 there and 1 there. And those are spindles that I planted just like I did those there. That's the grouping of 5. They're feeling a little lost without Little Bit, who would just lead the way. They're going like, do we or don't we come? Do we or don't we? There is no food. Yeah, there's nothing there, see? It's a small plantation. Here you can see spindle. This is 3 years old. And in this small plantation are spindle, rowan, then over here there's a gilda rose. I have evening primroses for moths and butterflies, and oxeye daisies. This is an oak tree that I grew from an acorn. Here's another gilda rose. So more spindle. Another rowan. You can see here, this is the rowan. So this plantation here, it's a small one, very small plantation. And I've also, sown other things that aren't native, like the evening primrose, but they're great for moths. This is feverfew, and you can see there's thistles in here. And rowan, and another gilda rose, another gilda rose, another rowan. This is a hazel. Then there's another, here's some sallies. These are stabbed into the ground. This is another rowan. So I have 4 oaks, 1, 2, then there's another oak, all grown from seed. Now, where's my other oak tree? Here it is. Here's another oak tree. And then there's another smaller oak tree right here. So there's this oak tree here. All grown from seed, or like this has been stabbed into the ground. This is another spindle. So it's a very densely planted area. And I've sown sallies, so it's a very mixed species. There's grass, thistles. Here you can see there's oxeye daisies. That's a big mound of oxeye daisies. More evening primroses, thistles, daisies. You can see these are all the daisy seedlings. So I love having all the daisies. So they'll migrate out into the fields. But this is 3 years old. Okay, things like this, these are older because I potted these on. The rowans are older. The spindle, Gilda Rose, and the Sallies are all stabbed in or self-propagated. Everything else, that's 3 years old. This is a rowan. So that's a very intense planting, and as you can see, everything is thriving. And my baby homegrown oak trees are doing really well. So with feverfew and evening primrose and oxeye daisies and nettles. Here's another spindle. So it's a really good mixed plantation. It's underneath this beech tree and there's a willow there. But that gives you an idea of how thick that plantation is. And that's how I like to do it, because it thrives with, here's loads of feverfew. I've also planted in here, I grew from seed scabious. So there's mounds of scabious in here, and knapweed. So there's a huge plethora of wildflowers, as well as a lot of mostly native Irish understory pioneer plants with the oak trees. So that's homegrown mixture from seeds and from cuttings. Here you can see, this is spindle here. You can see they're fantastic seeds.